I've played on Sunday League pitches that look like beautiful carpets compared to whatever that was.
What the fuck is that pitch I'm looking at? The red card. Some Leyton Orient fans actually think it weren't a red card and they're fucking idiots.
Bunch of cockneys that have never played football before.
Every single fan we've played this season singing 20 million down the drain at Stansfield. If you all had the money, you would do the same thing. Kiss my ass. Welcome to Lawlor'S Law. This is your place for the raw, unfiltered, and sometimes outrageous chat about Birmingham City Football Club, brought to you by Blues Focus. Thanks everyone for subscribing. This evening, I'm joined with Jordan Pink. How you getting on, mate?
I'm all right, mate. How are you? You been all right?
All good, mate. You know, life's busy. Mid-house move, contracts exchanging as we speak. So all the joys of a house move mixed with everything and living the dream while working. But
I went through mine last month, mate, so I do not pity you at all with that. So you're a lucky one.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? But football's going well. But this is the part where we can obviously talk about the joys of Birmingham City, which has been a lot this year. But this is the part where we get to be whingy old farts, basically, and we get to be all the old people that we whinge about the football going, he's just moaning. This is us. We get to do it now. So let's get to it, George. What do you want to talk about first? I'm going to go with Reading and the pitch, maybe, for you.
Oh, okay. So, me and you have had a couple of conversations privately about this, and you know my feelings. And I'm just going to start out by saying I do feel sorry for them. I know they've got no money. We've been there ourselves, but we had groundsmen that cut the pitch. Mate, I've played on rugby pitches and Sunday League pitches that look like absolute beautiful carpets compared to whatever that was. It was just a barren mud pit, and no wonder why we had two major injuries and we couldn't get into the game, because honestly, how a professional footballer expects a ball to move on that pitch, and you know, it's something that you'd expect kids to play on.
It was. I mean, there is a lot of things about that Reading game that we're going to probably complain about in these next 45 minutes to an hour, but the pitch is... I didn't go to the game. I was out and about with the missus and the step boy, but kind of watched the highlights. And as soon as I watched the first highlight, I went, what the fuck is that pitch I'm looking at? Like that. Yeah. I've played Sunday League. You've played Sunday League. And I am adamant that as a goalkeeper, we've both played goalkeeper for a while. I've seen better 6-yard boxes in the park up the road in Small Heath. Like, that was diabolical. How Allsop hasn't come away with like a broken hip or anything from some of the saves he's had to make as well.
Yeah, mate. I've been down to, you know, like I've played at different levels, and I've been down to the moors. I've been to, you know, all these different pitches. I was even at Castle Vale for a little while on their 4G pitch, and you look at it and you go, how are they in League One and not long ago Championship, and that's the state they're playing on? Like, terrible. How have they got 11 men to field? Like, how have they not had people stretched off week in, week out? That pitch was, yeah, the less said, the better. But at the same time, it speaks volumes into the performance that we had to watch, didn't it? So,
the less said, the better, but sort your shit out, Reading. Yeah, sort it out. It's terrible.
Just go to B&M and get some, like, Evergrow or something. Just chuck it down, please.
Just do something. Yeah. We've lost Wright and Dykes now, which, you know, like they've been our best players.
Some people will see that as a bit of a luxury, but mate, we're missing a player that was back in Stansfield up when he's not around. He's got us to Wembley, so I can't gripe about him too much. Scott Wright, my only issue is he's stopped trying to be Jack Grealish. We're not supposed to like you if you look like that. But I do think he looks a lot like Jamie Tart.
I see it.
Yeah, he does look like Jamie Tart. I mentioned that at the Cambridge game, and I think about 5 people around me just went, yeah, I see your point. I get you.
Yeah. Just for people who don't know, Tommy, if you could at this point insert just a quick snippet of Jamie Tart from the wonderful, wonderful show of Ted Lasso, that'd be ace.
You could put me next to him as Coach Beard as well, so it's that works.
On the note of sad losses from the Reading game, I'm just going to come out and say, how the fuck has Dykes not scored?
Yeah.
I can't. It's been, honestly, I had to watch it 4 times the next day to kind of work it out.
I'm not going to lie to you though. What a defender they've got. That lad that was what was his name again? The centre back who cleared it off the line. I can't remember his name, but
I can't remember it.
he had the most fantastic fall to block a shot I've ever seen. And like at the time, I watched it and I was like, oh, he's blocked it and kicked it well. He literally goes over it and like rainbow flicks it with his left foot away from the goal. And I was like, that's phenomenal. Like that is absolutely like top notch. But yeah, it's got to go in, and
it's great defense. And I said this at the time when it does as a defender, he's done everything you want. If you're the manager, he has done what you want.
Yeah.
However, he had time to take a touch and then just put it in a corner.
And we're talking about a bloke who last season was in a championship team that every time I seen him play,
it was a nightmare.
Looked unreal. But I will say this: if that man somehow manages double figures, he won't know really because he's injured. I was going to say, had he have got double figures by the end of the season, I was going to get a tattoo of him, but he's not going to get there, is he? So that's a bit of a safe bet, I think.
He has sent us to Wembley. It was a phenomenal header, so
yeah, I can get you to react though. Emmanuel Longello.
Don't fucking. Where is he now? Is it at Cambridge?
Somewhere. Somewhere stinking up a league.
He's stinking up a league. He is by far. And I mean, we've gone.
I didn't mind him, but you didn't like him, did you?
It wasn't. I think the more I think about it, I think that whatever tactic we were trying to implement into Longello was not working. He was not good left back. He was okay as a left mid, but we tried to play him at wing back, and he was just. I still stand by my statement that his legs are too fucking long for his body because it's almost like he's got brain delay. He'll do something and then he'll stand still. It's like having lag on FIFA. It's like he just stops.
He's got that kind of like Mikel Antonio about him anyway. It's like he just looks a bit dozy when he tries to run. But honestly, I had to remind you of this the other day. We were face to face at was it Bradford when I come to see you?
Bradford.
And I had to come up to you and just be like, before we mention Longello in poor light, can we all remember that we had Juan Costello play for our team?
I was about to say, apart from Costello, he's probably one of the worst left backs I've seen.
Yeah, can we please remember that we had Juan Costello, please? Because before I ever go on about how bad Longello is, he assisted a couple. I think he scored one as well, maybe, in his time. But yeah,
he did. He scored a screamer, didn't he, outside the box on his right foot? I think was it against QPR as well?
Yeah, and I think his first game on loan, he assisted 2, I believe. Yeah, I think when we've originally had him on loan from West Ham, I'm sure he assisted 2. So
he was just shit, weren't he? Let's be fair. He just wasn't a good footballer.
Come on, get your moans out.
I just can't. I mean, there's a couple of footballers on a whinge about, really, but I'm going to take my time with it. And on the note of whinging about footballers, let's move on to the Leyton Orient game quickly.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, complete anti-football, wasn't it? Like,
it was like watching us of the last 3 years.
Yeah, got 10 men behind the ball. I know they had 10 men from the 12th minute, but chuck 10 men behind the ball and waste as much time as humanly possible and just let your 100 fans sing about how we're a library. Just, complete anti-football. Couldn't have been less arsed by a team on that pitch.
I know. The only thing that they were missing, in my opinion, was turning around to our manager and say, can we borrow Duke for 90 minutes, please? Because can we just borrow like the big guy there, please? Because he's good at this kind of game plan. I mean, it's bad when their fucking keeper went down with cramp 20 minutes into the game. I had to look twice. I was like, is he on the ground asking for stretch? Are you joking me?
No, so I called this. I was sat talking to a lad next to me and I called it. Oh, no, I believe it was a security guard that I was talking to, and he just went, he was just going about how they're just going to time waste. And I went, so he used to be a keeper. I said, I can tell you exactly what he's doing. I said, his managers told him to sit down. This is a change of tactics so they can get a sub on and change the whole formation. And lo and behold, the guy stretches off 2 subs, change of formation. Just, it's complete shithousery of a keeper because you ain't going to come off if you have an injury. So I when I do my coaching occasionally, I tell the lads, just get the keeper to sit down while we get some tactics across. And it is, if you're on the opposition side and it happens, it's the most frustrating thing in the world. But if you do it as a manager, you're a genius.
I was relatively calm because I knew, even though, I mean, right, another thing I'm going to whinge about is that we should have been about fucking 3-0 up at half time, and I've not let that one go yet. But I knew at half time, I was sat there and I was like, we're going to get the breakthrough. We can't not score past this team.
Yeah.
And I'm going to shout out Gardner Hickman because as much as we're going to whinge, he was great. He worked his bollocks off again.
The only issue I do have is the overlapping runs need to be a little bit quicker. Like the runs were quick, but the passage far too slow, and you can read it before it's happening.
Especially when you've got a Pate going that way and a Cochrane that way. I mean, you've got two players bombing past you.
I don't know if that's just the lack of Cochrane and Gardner Hickman playing alongside each other, because usually they're both at the back, wing backs. So, I mean, you could put it down to that, but so slow, and a few passes went out to Ethan Laird last night, and I was kind of sat there going, boys, what are we doing, man? Like, Tamaki Iwata picks up the ball a couple of times, and it's doing my head in now, the whole shoot chant. I think if you get a free game ban and no Wembley ticket now, if you don't shoot when Iwata picks up the ball, like, that's personal. It bugs me, but he was passing the ball out to Laird, and I was like, are we back on the Reading pitch then, boys? Because where the hell is that ball going? Because it took about 10 years to get to his feet, and by that time, your attack's gone. So, yeah, I was there. I enjoyed the win, but also I'm just going to shout out a personal issue. That is the worst atmosphere we've had at home this season.
Oh, it was terrible.
Awful. I could hear, so I sat Gilmerich Lower last night, and I could hear a Leyton Orient fan having a go at a kid for wearing goggles on his hat. I was sat Gilmerich Lower, down by the goal, and I could hear this fan at the back of the stand having a go at one of our fans. That's how quiet it was.
Oh, is that where your seat was, Gilmerich Lower?
Yeah.
Is that where your seat was it, George? I swear I saw you somewhere else.
So start of the night, I texted you, didn't I, saying hello. I can see ya, peekaboo, or something along the lines, because I was Gilmerich Upper, and Big Brain here remembers European days and the fact that the stairs lead down onto the concourse for Gilmerich one. So I may have been a bit naughty last night and did a runner and basically went on the Blues website, seen where the tickets were available, and was like, just gonna go sit downstairs because I don't like heights too much.
Yeah. So we're both shit scared of heights, to be fair. So.
Yeah, I'm petrified. I've met a big man like me, and I'm petrified of him. I took my daughter to Disneyland, and she was like, "Can we go on the big drop ride?" No, Mummy will do that. I can't do that.
Yeah, Mummy's doing that, mate.
Yeah, Mummy's doing that one. Daddy ain't doing that. I can kill her, but I ain't doing that.
I don't care how much money I've got to pay. Right, my Wembley ticket is not going above tier 2. Not a chance. I was like, no.
I think when Obafemi Martin scored, I nearly fell over the seat in front. But like, mine still goes back to a fear of Newcastle away. It's how scary that place is to be. I'm 6 foot, and the chairs in front are at ankle height, and you're all the way up that high, seeing over the city, and I'm like, yeah, no, I can't do this sort of thing. So, yeah, I don't do well with heights, and I seen my opportunity and took it.
Well, exactly. It's you got to sometimes. You got to. Also, can we talk about the red card and how some Leyton Orient fans actually think it weren't a red card and they're fucking idiots?
Well, clearly, a bunch of Cockneys that have never played football before and know that if you go studs up, then it's a red card, no matter how much contact there is. You've gone studs up with intent. 2 feet
both
as well.
Both feet left the ground, and his studs went above the ball. It's a red card in the letter of the law.
But again, being where I was sat, I had a really good view of it all. And let's just point back to another absolute tosh linesman. Because he had that decision to make, and the referee looked at him, and he just held his flag at his side. And then later on, I believe a ball went for a corner for us.
Yeah.
And he just basically shrugs at the ref and was like, that's your job. You're getting paid to do it.
Yeah. Sort it out.
Yeah, I get sometimes you're blindsided by things, but you can see someone sliding across a pitch with their studs up, and you can see a ball going out for a corner. You're trained to do it. Just get your job done.
Yeah, I think it was great to win 2-0, and I was ecstatic to win 2-0, but it was also one of the most boring games of football I've ever watched because I was just like, it felt like a training session of attack against defence at that point. At least
Yeah,
with 11 men, it was back and forth and we were trying, but at that point, as soon as you got 1-0, we knew we'd won. And I'm not whinging that we won, I'm ecstatic that we won.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I am going to slightly whinge that at the minute, the striker options we got is I love Duke. And the thing that annoys me is that we brought Duke on and then changed from the crossing tactic. And I was like, why have we spent 60 odd minutes crossing to Alfie May and now we've brought Duke on and we've
Yeah,
stopped crossing the ball in as much?
yeah, exactly. And like Emil Hansen comes on, tries to revert back to it, but he's putting them onto Ethan Laird's toes, which is it's great that you can hit it that far, but the big man's there. Go for his head. Like just literally, how many years have we been calling? And I mean, me and you have sat together now since we were what 14,
17.
15?
Yeah,
Yeah.
16, 17, yeah.
Yeah, and we're now, well, I'm 30 odd, and
I'm 31.
yeah, and we're talking that for a fair few years of watching Duke, all we've wanted is a player to put it on his head. We keep going back to the fact of we used to have a Seb Larson that could whip a ball and put it on somebody's head.
Yeah.
Chrissy Burke, who could do the exact same thing. We've now got Keshi Anderson that's okay, he's injured. We've got an Emil Hansen that should, on paper, be able to do it. Yes, okay, we'll give him the fact that he's been injured, he's come back late. But aim for the big man's head. He'll do the hard work for you.
Any striker becomes better with Lukas Djukovic, and that is
Yeah.
a sole fact that I will die on the hill of. Scott Hogan had his best season next to Djukovic. Chadham scored 20 goals next to Djukovic. Alfie
There's,
May actually looked like half a striker last night when he
yeah.
had Djukovic next to him.
And there's a reason why one of the best players in the world absolutely loves the bloke. Jude Bellingham literally sings the bloke's praises because he knows, he knew you play with that man, you are going to look like a superstar because that's what
Yep.
he does. And I won't have any of this stuff off Blues fans going, oh, but it's beyond his days. He's this, he's
No.
that, he's the other. I walked down the other day through the family stand car park, and the bloke wasn't even in the team, and he was greeting fans and having pictures with kids. Above all else, mate, that's what you want in your locker room. Is you want a presence that isn't a Harley Dean, that isn't someone that's going to be, slagging off the team off, that isn't trying to take all the praise. He just does his work and he goes home at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And he's a great singer.
I know his voice is ridiculous. He's
Phenomenal.
like good-looking lad as well. Let's be fair about it.
He is, mate. He's
It's
phenomenal
annoying.
bloke. But yeah, you've got a mammoth in your team. You play to his head, don't you? You don't try and play past him. It's ridiculous. But
I know we want to be this team of, let's play passing football. Let's do this. Let's play the Barcelona tiki-taka 20-time style. Cool. Get it. Fine. Sometimes when injuries come about, you've got to play like a dick. And if playing like a dick reverts to bringing on the 6'2" odd shithouse who wins every header near enough known to man, do it. Play to it. Because you know what? Right, there was 3 centre-halves last night on Alfie, man. I kept looking, going, the guy's got to drop deep to try and win the ball and do something with it. If you bring on a Duke, he occupies 2 of them centre halves within seconds because everyone is renowned to know that Lukas Djukovic is a nose in the air. No one likes playing against Duke.
That's why for years I've been frustrated watching the fact that people use him as a bloody climbing frame and a ladder, and he usually gets a foul given against him because he is a shithouse in the air. The ball goes up to him, he will win that header for you, unless he's got some bloke cuddling him, trying to take him to bed for the night. Get off his back, let him win a header, and he does it. You know what I mean? And the thing is while Stansfield's out and while Keshi's out, and a couple of the other lads that are knocking about, use what we've got. If you're going to use Alfie, put it on the floor, let him do what he does best, let him run at people. Because when he does it, he scares defences.
He brings fear into people. Like we said before we went on, you said it, didn't you? He's lacking confidence in there, but he was the League One top goal scorer for 3 years running.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, I've mentioned to you in the past, I think if you're a League One top goal scorer for 3 seasons and you've come to the team and we've got songs all about you and we absolutely adore you, and then from his point of view, some young lad comes in and they've done that interview with Will Brazier and they've said, we get on really well and people don't think we do. That's great. But in Alfie May's head, he's going to be going, this kid has got everything that I've got, but he's got the age on his side as well. And I love Alfie May. I think he's brilliant. I do. I really do. Whether he'll work in the Championship, that's yet to be seen. You know,
if he's going to work in the Championship, he'd have to accept a squad impact player at this point, or cup
I think he has, though. I think he already has, because not once have you seen the bloke miserable about being on the bench. I mean, he come on at Bradford and he was geeing up the crowd and he was being a little shithouse and kicking the ball to time wasting to their defender while he was tying the laces. And mate, I love him. I love where I sat that game. He was giving it some, and he was singing along and having a, like, you can see when you watch him up close, he talks himself through a football game, and like,
does he?
Yeah, he'll talk to himself about what he's done wrong, and you'll see a normal player will clatter their hands and walk away. He's stood there and he's rethinking what he should have done, and I like that about him. He's got that experience, but that's unfortunately what happens when you bring Stansfield back. Alfie got displaced, and he's going to have a confidence issue. But have we dealt with worse strikers in the past? Yes.
Nick
Are we probably going to see another one eventually? Yes. People think that Lyndon Dykes is worse. That's, each to their own opinion. But you can't have it both ways. You can't hate Lyndon Dykes and hate Alfie May. Like,
I'd take your Lyndon Dykes and I'd raise you a Sam Cosgrove.
And I'll take you Sam Cosgrove and I'll raise you a Chuck Saneke.
And I'll take that and raise you a Nick Brodson Madsen.
Yes. Nikolai Brock-Madsen comes in there for trumps, I suppose.
Very closely followed by Breck Shea.
Oh, Breck Shea's got to be up there. Breck Shea has got to be up there. Lord, give me strength. That has got to be right up there, mate.
Can we go through, right? All the League One fan banter pages say that we're arseholes and blah, blah, blah. Right, what they haven't lived through is what I'm trying to find here, which is the team that we started against Blackburn when we lost 5-2 away.
Right,
and
so
you know what team I'm on about.
Yeah, I've seen this come up on Twitter, and I still think they should scrap the criteria for a Wembley ticket, and they should turn around and say to each fan on an email, please tell me the worst player you have had to watch at the Blues. And whoever can answer some of these players in this team, and a couple of others, should be priority one, mate, because I've
just give them a ticket.
Yeah, I've been watching. I'm not one of these that, where were you when you were shit? I've been here. I watched the 8-0 loss to Bournemouth. I've watched us getting battered against teams that we shouldn't even be close to losing to. And I'm just sitting there and I'm going like, I can name some of those players off the top of my head, and I can go, I deserve better than what I've had.
We were an embarrassment for a few years, and that's the only way. I took my brother-in-law. He's obviously my sister and my brother-in-law live in Sweden. My brother-in-law came over, not this Christmas, just on the one before. He's never experienced English football, but he loves English football. So I said, yeah, Boxing Day, let's go Blues Stoke at home. That poor bastard, for his first ever game of English football, had to watch us lose 3-1 to Stoke at St Andrews. And the only player he spoke about after the game was, he went, that Ramel Donovan lad, he was the only one who looked like he cared, And that game also pissed me off, because we're going to segue from the 5-2 team in a minute to the fact that Emmanuel Ayew played right back and he was dog shit. And now, like you said, Jord, he's playing well.
Yeah, mate, right. So I said last season when I was watching him, I sat with you a few times, didn't I, last season? Mm-hmm. And I said to you, this bloke, he was a handsome lad, wasn't he? Let's not fault him. He's a handsome lad, and I remember when we signed him, there was a lot of, I'd say, middle-aged blokes on Twitter saying, good-looking lad.
Yeah.
But fuck me, he stunk up a pitch for 90 minutes when he played.
Oh, he was meant to be a ball-playing centre-half, and he's one of the worst ball-playing centre-halves I've ever witnessed.
Yeah.
He cost us that. I mean, someone can stat pad me after this podcast, but I'm adamant in my soul that he gave away at least 5 goals. 5 to 10 goals last season were his fault alone.
Yeah,
he relegated us to me.
I mean, how can you go from the season before having an Austin Trusty, Dion Sanderson, absolute masterclass of a defence, to watching Dion and Ayew try and get through 90 minutes without one of them looking like they were in a Looney Tunes cartoon, as slipping up to pass a ball to a defender, to an attacker. Sorry, I just, how is the bloke playing Champions League football? And more importantly, how is he doing it well? because it's just were we just that shit that we made, you know, everybody in the team just look that bad? But at the same time, how did we make Stansfield look so good? It doesn't make sense to me. How have we got the same lad who looked great in that team playing for us this season, still looking great, and then the lad who looked absolute dog shit, he's playing Champions League football? It's just, mate, you can't make it up, can you? It's not. It's like watching Marcus Rashford go to them down the road and just, you
He's
know,
doing well.
well, I mean, that's yet to be seen.
When you told me that I was playing Champions League football, well, I was like, "You're joking, mate. Not a chance."
Yeah,
But no, he is.
yeah, no, he is. I think I think before this we were talking about having a look on FotMob at his overall ratings in his Champions League games, and like they're all in the sixes and sevens. Like there's no real bad stinkers. Like he dropped for us. I think last season I checked one, and he got 4.1 in one game.
Was that Watford when he gave away the ball for Emmanuel Dennis by any chance?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Which also, by the way, let me point out that on the Blues Focus podcast for that game, if we can find the clip somewhere, I got that goal down to a T. I was just short of the timing, but I guess the right scoreline and the fact that Emmanuel Thomas had scored.
I can guarantee you now, Emmanuel Dennis, 38th minute, going up 1-0 down, and then it'll be the second half. We'll either show up and get a 1-1 out of it, or we lose 3-0. That's what happens.
Going from shit centre backs to Emmanuel Lawor, who I never ever want to see him anywhere near St Andrews again. Watch now. I guarantee if we got to the Premier League and signed him thinking, oh yeah, he plays well now, he'd still be shit.
Yeah, he'd come out there and he'd run round for 20 minutes just looking at himself in a mirror. He's just, you know, that's great. Well done, Emmanuel.
He is the Adonis of football, isn't he? That's the issue. But we've gone from him and Dion to Ben Davis and Christoph Clara, who I am 99% adamant would headbutt for his own nan to win a header.
Well, there was a news report, breaking news coming out here. Apparently, there's a comet heading towards Earth in the next few years.
Mm-hmm.
But no worries, Christoph Clara will header that away in no time at all, mate. What a player! Like, if people will ask me this season, they'll go, "Who do you think's the Blues' best player?" Because, you know, I've heard on TikTok it's Alex Cochrane, and I've seen that Tomoki Iwata scores goals from anywhere on the pitch. Mate, give me Christoph Clara as every award winner. Jay Stansfield of last season. I want to see that man at the end of the night with his absolute beautiful sculpture of a face, holding every award at that Blues end of season awards, and then not in one of the reporters from WM. Like, it'd just be great.
So what's your nickname for him?
I call him the handsome Squidward. So he looked. My dad calls him Dolph Lundgren. Is it from the Rocky films?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he can't decide whether it's Clara or Clara or whatever. So that's why he calls him. But I call him the handsome Squidward.
He looks like Squidward mixed with Ivan Drago a little bit.
Yeah. He has got the I don't even want to pick on him. Like, his nose gives me anxiety, but like the fact that he can header a ball the way he does, I mean, mate, I phenomenal. What a player! It chucks me back to like that whole Roger Johnson and
Scott Dan.
Yeah, Scott Dan, and more Roger Johnson, and it's that whole tall header anything and just do the nitty gritty horrible stuff. I mean, my favourite moment this season has got to be highlighted. It's the Joe Willock push. That is hilarious. And the fact that every time it comes on now on the screen at the Blues, people cheering. And the Newcastle fans that lost their temper over it. It's my favourite moment. And do you know what? When people say St Andrews is a place you should come and fear playing football because of our fans and everything else, fuck that. Get rid of that whole thing now. Because if we're going to be as quiet as Leyton Orient, you should be scared to come to St Andrews in case Clara clatters you. What a player.
My favourite thing about that whole challenge with Clara, it's not even the shoulder barge is incredible. It's the fact that there is no looking at the fucking ball. He's staring at Joe Willock dead in the eyes, and he's just there. He's just like, I'm wiping you out. You're
even
gone.
Better than that is the fact that he looked at the ref after and pleaded as to why it was a yellow card. He just turned around. He was like this, and I was like, you lovely shithouse of a man. How have
Yeah.
how do you think that was? It's great, mate. Absolutely unreal. And I said to you last season, one of my main issues was that we didn't have anyone that was willing to do the nasty stuff on the pitch. Like last season, we had players with flair. We had players that scored goals that were attacking well. That we had, but this season we've got the nasty ones. We've got the ones that are willing to snap your leg, but that are also willing to back their teammates up if the same happens to them. We haven't had that for so long, where a whole group runs over and backs up the team. Like I'd be convinced that you could go back to like the days of us playing against the Villa and West Brom and stuff like that. And if a scrap went on between the players, they'd all give it. This team would all give it, which we haven't had for a long, long time. You had Dion throwing up his Z's and stuff, but that was more of a, ex-Wolves versus West Brom issue. But I don't remember a team of ours giving it like this team does. It's great. I love dirty football. It's just brilliant.
We're back to being arseholes again, and that's what we wanted. We just wanted a bit of nastiness in this team, and we finally got it back. Gone are the days of Jordan Graham at wing back,
apologising to people for tripping him over. The one thing I need back now, and it's the only thing that I'll say, is I need the nastiness in the fans back towards away fans, because I've sat Gilmerick a few times and it's so like it's just not Blues anymore.
To be fair, we can't win as fans though, in terms of, so obviously I've sat block 40 this season. Yeah. Am I going to be moving? Yeah, I am. Yeah. Is it because of the people around me? No, because the people around me are great. There are, you get your occasional annoyance, but it is what it is.
One thing I will say is, and I'll openly say it, and I've said it in the past, I'll say it again. The security down in the Blues need to get off the high horses. They genuinely need to leave the kids alone. Kids are there and they're enjoying the football, and they're acting like little hooligans and they've got their arms out and stuff. But we all did. We all did it. We were all little troublemakers in our way. They're not hurting anyone. If they're throwing something, or they're being a bit over the top, give them a gentle tap. But I've seen security pulling people up now for next to nothing. The whole just walking around dressed in a scarf and a hat, you get singled out now, and it doesn't need to be like that. It kind of puts the atmosphere into what I was talking about earlier. It kills your atmosphere because people are like, oh, can I do this or can I do that now? Just let it run. Just let people have a bit of fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't do anything. I've seen. Let's talk about back in our day, 15, 16 years ago, when we're down in the Tilton. Yeah. And we had a certain security guard who used to drive you insane every single week.
Yeah. Let's I'll leave this for fans to decide who I'm talking about. But we'll just say that she didn't like anybody standing up. And it got to the point where I couldn't even go to the toilet without her telling me to sit down. We did have a bit of a torrid time, especially with K2. That was something else that you had to live through, which I believe I discussed with you earlier. It's, Black Country based security firm with a lot of Wolves and West Brom fans working for them, which we know personally because we spoke to the lad that used to sit in front of us and he was a West Brom fan. Yeah. But there's one that still works at the club, and I'm not going to mention anything that I'm sure
we're not even going to go into what they look like. We're just going to
I'm sure the comment section will decipher that very, very well. She didn't like me very much. She didn't like a couple of the lads that sat with us either. I believe one ended up with a banning order for persistent standing. It's been an ongoing issue for years, mate, and obviously now we've got the safe standing back, that eliminates that factor. But it's gone from like being a hostile place where now it's just the odd one or two songs, and the upper Tilton still goes for it, and the lads up in your corner still give it some. But apart from that, it's very tame. It's
the aggression back. We just need the aggression back at some point. Like there's no They're
the cup games
yeah,
this season have showed what we can be like as fans,
yeah,
and the slow keep right on is, goosebumps, and
yeah.
it's unreal. But I cannot sit there and listen to another team come and sing football in a library, or where were you when you were shit, or what's
Right,
the
yeah.
other one that we get a lot? We get another one at the moment, which is where's your famous atmosphere?
Yeah.
Like,
And they're right.
I get it. I 100% get it, because like we get hyped up and they see this Newcastle game on TV and they see us being horrible, non-stop singing on top of players' backs. They come to Leyton Orient last night and you can literally hear people talking from one side to the other.
Yeah. It's it's just it's one of them. This is what this podcast is for. This is the
Yeah,
kind of stuff we
yeah,
wanted to do, because it's the little things like this which I imagine doesn't just gripe you guys, and it gripes us as much as well, because it's annoying when I was sat there last night and it was cold. Don't get me wrong, and I don't like cold football. Who does? But you've got to kind of get in there and get involved and have a laugh. The
yeah,
issue we've got is where we stand. There's police and security guards. Obviously, John, who will be joining the podcast, I imagine next week. He literally stood up last night having a bit of banter. He was literal banterous stuff with the Leighton fans. They were going back at him. He was back and forth. He's walking down for a pie with me at half time in a vape. Didn't even get down to the bottom of the stairs. A police guard pulls him straight aside. Goes, mate, can you stop saying stuff? There's children. John's reply was, the kid in front of me you're on about, the one that was had his two fingers up at the Leighton fans.
yeah,
He was
yeah.
worse than me. Like, are you
Like,
joking?
I'm not being funny, but I take my daughter who's 4 to games, and if I didn't want to hear stuff, I'd go and sit in the Arthur's area. I'd go into a quiet section. I've always been brought up in the fact of, my dad always said, you don't want to listen to it, do not go near the tilt and do not go near the cop.
Yeah.
Like, whatever
Go
you do,
Arthur's
do
area.
not go in them areas, because it's nasty. It can get nasty if it kicks off, which we've seen in the past with Millwall and all of those. He also said that, he hated the fact that back in the day, people used to throw stuff down from the top of stands and stuff. Gilmerrick's not going to do that. You know what I mean? So, like, I've sat Gilmerrick up a couple of times in the past, and they keep barriering off the front row. And I'm like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. I understand when they used to banner it off when we had the pitch invasions at the front of the Tilton and the Cop.
Or if it's West Brom, Wolves, or Villa, I'm there.
Yeah, but like, what the hell am I going to do against a Leyton Orient fan or a Bradford fan that I can't do, out on the street when I see them at the end of the game? I'm not that type of person, but that, speaking in a sense of, that's another row of seats that we could have sold for absolutely no reason. They're closed off.
We're just not trusted.
No.
And that's the with any football fan, this isn't just Birmingham City fan related. This, like, if you restrict us on something, if you block off a thing, go no because you're going to misbehave, it makes us want to do it more. It's like the big red button scenario.
Yeah.
Of don't press the red button. My head goes, I'm pressing it. Bang. Done.
My missus hates the fact that I go to the football and I'm the way I am, because I'm outspoken. I say what I like. I do coaching, and I used to play Sunday League football up until the end of this season. And I've always been outspoken. You know that yourself. I've always got myself in a bit of trouble for it. And she hates me going to football because she's like, the police will nick you for no reason. Like, you say one thing wrong, they'll nick you. And I'm like, that's great, but why don't they stop the car cannibals that are robbing all the cars around at the Blues at the minute? Why are they, not do? This is my issue, is we don't drive to the games now, because she only drives a shitty little Volkswagen up. But like,
that'll be torn apart in 4 seconds.
They rip that apart. That's our livelihood's gone. And Birmingham has always been a working man's club. Why should a man that works anybody who works their whole life through to go down to them games have to bear witness to coming out and having their cars ripped bare, and the police are more busy holding a camera in your face because you sang a nasty song to somebody? It's the one, like I said, the police, not as bad the issue. It's more the security and the fact that they're little grassies. It's like I say, I got away with that last night, which was a bit naughty. But a couple of lads, I think, followed me down, or they might have just walked into the wrong section, and they got marched out of there by the scruff of their necks and took to their seats. And I'm like, there's empty seats down here. So look, what is the issue? We're turning into that whole thing that football fans hate, where it's like, if you go to an away day, well, you're in my seat. It's an away day. Just sit anywhere. As long as I'm not taking up a family seat, sit anywhere. You know, if we're at the Blues and I see an empty seat in a section that's not mine, and I get 20 minutes into a game and I go, right, that's still there and it's close to my friends, I'm moving to that seat.
I regularly do it. If I've got a spare seat next to me, I will drop you a message 10 minutes in. Want to go and seat by me?
Yeah, like I've got no issue with if I was sat there and somebody come along and I've got two seats either side of me and somebody's with their friend and they've got them two seats and they go, sorry mate, can we just sit together? I've got no issue getting up and moving.
Wickham preview. What do you reckon? I think if I genuinely, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say it, and everyone's going to smite me for this, if we win the league's done.
If I was sat on my way home last night going, so I can't make Saturday. I've got prior engagements, so I've not there Saturday. I'm going to try my best to watch as much of it as I can, but I don't see us losing the game.
I don't think we'll lose, but I think a win cements us 12 points clear and a game in hand.
Anything, anything. If we win by any margin, there's no one catching us, mate. I don't see who can, because Wrexham, they've been off and on, hot and cold. Wickham are the only team, realistically, that could be anywhere near us come the end of the season. And if we can stop their rot and drop them off, I'm just putting it out there. I want Richard Kone next season.
I was just about to say, if we can keep Richard Kone quiet, we've got every chance.
If we can knock them out of that second spot and make sure they don't get promoted, give me Richard Kone, please. Please.
You say that, and that's all well and good, but I also don't want Disney fuckboys getting promoted either. I don't.
Yeah, but would you like
Wrexham?
I would love to see like a late charge from one of the old big boys. So like, I look down the league and I keep seeing the likes of Wigan and Bolton, and I'm like, why are you here? You're and us.
Bolton are a big club as well.
Yeah, like I've got a soft spot for Bolton, being a Peter Kay mega fan. Like I've got a soft spot for Bolton, and you know the scenes from the last day staying up and stuff, and
they had a good team as well back in the day. They had a great team.
Think about the names. So you go back to a Wigan and a Bolton Premier League days. We're going to these prime Barclaysmen. You think about the names that they had:
Antonio Valencia, Hugo Rodallega,
JJ
Okocha, Kevin Davis,
who I don't know if you'll ever remember.
Lee Chun-Yun.
So being a goalkeeper, my all-time favourite goalkeeper.
Yaska
Jaskalainen.
Yeah.
What a player. Mate, this is what I'm saying. So like I look at when people go about, your big Prem days, Wigan and Bolton were as much a factor as we were. Charlton maybe, but if Nathan Jones is in charge, I hope they go down to National League and we never see him again.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I was saving that for the final section, but we'll get on to...
Sorry.
No, you're fine. No, don't apologise. It's a great segue. We'll quickly finish off with Wickham only on the back of Watcher prediction on Wickham.
Wickham, I'm going to go a scrappy 1-0.
I'll take that. Every day of the week, I've said 2-0. Yeah. I don't see us conceding at the minute. That's it. The thing is, like we've said, Kalara and Ben Davis ain't going to lose a header. I don't know how they do it. Allsop's unreal.
Yeah, can we just segue back a sec as well? Clara got my mention, but also Ryan Allsop. What a player. What a keeper.
He is literally like having an outfield man. That man can distribute. He's the best distribution of a goalkeeper I've seen down the Blues ever.
And
in my lifetime.
He's just overall ability just to watch him. And the fact that, again, he's another one that's come in like the Rangers lads, and Hull were going, he's crap. You don't want him. He's shit. He was for us. And I look at him and I go, we've got a player in Bailey Peacock Farrell that was loved by Bielsa, that was, one of these players that Bielsa spoke about, and he just makes him look like he shouldn't be at the club. He literally, I'm looking at him and I'm going, you're my throwback to Boaz Myhill, to a Ben Foster, to a Joe Hart. You are the Lord of Saviour. And the fact he's a Blues fan.
Yeah.
The fact that there's pictures of him in the Flyby shirt, in the home end, that wraps it up for me, mate. I'm happy with him.
He's unbelievable. I mean, when we lost John Ruddy, I was sad because I was like, he's such a good shot stopper, like. But we have upgraded.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that if the team we have this year played the team we had last year, we'd 5-6 nil them.
I just have you seen the photo of John Ruddy celebrating with the Newcastle team? He had to get in there, didn't he, to make sure his little bald head could be seen. I think he should just stick to whatever other career he comes along. Because
I mean, in all fairness to him, you can't blame him though. The man's at the richest club in the world. He's probably on 20 grand a week to sit on his ass. He's done well there.
I get that, but like, there's a certain level of entitlement of I'm not playing for a League One Birmingham City team. Like you were there when we got relegated. He's another one of those that when left, I was kind of like, you got us relegated. Your poor distribution and your lack of talking got us relegated. So bye-bye, see you later.
I mean, yeah, I also megally blame Wayne Rooney on the fact of some of John Roddy's mess-ups where he was trying to implement a 38-year-old sweeper keeper who's never done it in his career, and it was stupid.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's played at Prem level, and if he didn't like it, why waiting to go on the Ben Foster podcast and say something? He should have, I don't know. I liked him at the time, and he was okay. He was, he's one of them. You're there, you'll do. But like, he's another name that's going to go down with you. I know he's got a kind of cult following, but like your league camps and stuff that I'm going to forget. If he's going to be one of these when we're in the Prem in about 10 years' time, he's going to come back as one of your former players that he made so many appearances. It's John Ruddy. Well done, yeah, great, superb, right. Well done.
Remember when you were celebrating when you beat us 3-2, you div.
Yeah. So yeah, right. It's just not for me. I'll take all top any day.
Would you sign? I'm assuming it's a yes, Ben Davies and Dowd. Well, and also, side note, I don't know how the hell we've managed to pull this off Rangers, and all the Rangers fans seem to think they're shit footballers. I don't understand that if Scottish people don't know football.
I've seen something about Rangers having more pressure than us, and it cracked me up that somebody was arguing that Rangers, yes, they've got the Celtic rivalry going on, and they've got this and they've got that. I don't like Scottish football. I'm just putting it out there. I'm going to be one of these people that, yeah, but you've got to have a Scottish team. That's like me saying you've got to have a Prem team. I like Birmingham. That's who I like. I don't like Rangers. I don't like Celtic. I don't watch Hibs. I don't watch, I'll watch it if it comes on Sky Sports and at the pub after a football match and it's on. But I don't go out my way to do it. And I feel like the pressure that they talk about is the Old Firm derby because that is the only other pressure coming their way. Yeah. And the fact that they turned around and was like, oh, well, we had Europa League football. Okay, but you still don't have as many games in a season as what we're playing. So, and these players are showing up week in, week out. Yeah, Scott Wright, maybe they got okay. Ben Davies, nothing wrong with the lad.
He's a Rolls Royce at centre half.
Yeah,
he's dropped Bielik. He's dropped Bielik out of this fucking team.
So I said to my brother, I took my brother to a game recently, and I said, he went, is that Ben Davies that they signed from Preston at Liverpool? And I was like, yeah. And he went, how have we managed that? I said, there's a reason why the lad went from Preston to Liverpool. Okay, yeah, he didn't play. I understand that.
Klopp loved him, though.
Klopp's seen something in him enough to go, right, our big names, right, who can we sign? This lad's smashing it. He goes to Rangers. Oh, yeah, he didn't perform well. How many games did he actually play at Rangers? Does anybody actually, if someone can snap at it, it would be great. But, like, I swear they've got this whole thing about their team was built around Ben Godfrey and stuff. Like, so, like, we're not building a team around any one person. Okay, maybe Stansfield gets a bit of a special treatment with it, but we don't build a team around anyone. They come and play as a team. And I think that's why Iwat has done as well as he has, because he's come in and he's not being, if he was still at Celtic now, it'd be the Jota show. And, oh, my God, it's all about Jota. And, he's back. He's the second coming of Christ. It's not about that. That's what Scottish football is. They make one player a star player and they stick to it.
On the note of signings and wages, One of my biggest gripes actually this season, if I'm thinking about things that piss me off, is every single fan we've played this season, all the fans singing 20 million down the drain at Stansfield. If you all had the money, you would do the same thing. And we've had 15 years of ownership, so you can kiss my ass with that 20 million down the drain. You know what? Anyone would pay it if they had the money to pay it for him. So they can all suck one.
We had the lower Tilton and the lower Cop that looked like the Reading pitch. So we're allowed to, when they were all knocked down and it looked like Reading's home pitch. But no, at the same time, I can't be mad at that song, that being sung, because we got our great song out of it.
Exactly, and I love it I love what he did against the Bradford when he scored and he ran up to him and he just.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that guy goes on to be, your kind of cult hero. That, I mean, we all still talk about your Zigiches and your Seb Larsons and players like that. There'll be some kid when he's 30 going, do you remember Jay Stansfield? What a player! Like, what a baller! Like, he is that guy, and we've got to put him on his pedestal at the end of the day, and we've got to show our love for him, because he didn't have to come back. And again, that a lot of that goes to Wagner and company, because I mean, you've seen the photo of me with Wagner. I've not smiled like that since my little one was born. I met the bloke and I just wanted to kiss his smooth little head.
I nearly cried when I met him. I shook him, shook his hand and got a picture with him, and he just looked at me and I just said thank you. That's all I could say, is thank you for saving us. And he looked and he was like, no, it's you guys have done this as well. Like, yous are important to this club, you fans. And I was just like, I was overwhelmed, because I was like, for 15, 16 years, ever since we got relegated, we've watched the decline of this club, and we were so close to ending. And now we're pulling off, breaking records of signing players in a league, and everyone's crying about it. And you know what? We bring on the whinging. We broke the transfer record in League One 4 times in one window.
And we're looking at breaking the league record for points as well. So so obviously, you know my wife, and all of her family are all Villa and stuff, but she's been loyal to Blues since we met. She's come to games since day one with me, and she understands it, but she still doesn't get why I'm as excited about what's going on as I am. And I'm like, because you weren't there through the shit and the heartbreak and the Bournemouth 8-0s and having to watch David Edgar stink up a pitch, and mate, honestly, having Nicolites as your sponsor on a Penguin kit, like, I went through some absolute torrid times as a Blues fan, mate, and we all have, but some of us stuck through it thick and thin, and others were woodwork fans. And at the end of the day, I'm proud to say that I was there from day one, and I'll be there until the end of it. You know what I mean?
You know what? If you want to talk about people who are entitled to go to Wembley in their life, if you had to sit through the 5-2 game away at Blackburn, when our team was Truman, Cogley, Gordon, Pedersen at centre-half with Steve Seddon at left-back, Jonathan Lecco, Gardner, Harper, Stirk, Miller and Cosgrove up front in a 4-5-1, you deserve Wembley.
And let's just talk about where some of those players are now. Let's just have a quick browse over where some of them players are. Ryan Stirk, captain at Walsall.
And he was a rat when we played him in the Paint Trophy this year.
But he's found his level, captain of a League Two team. I didn't have any problem with Stirk as a player when he was with us. I didn't genuinely have an issue. Lecco can't get in the team at Charlton.
Is he footballer still?
Connell Truman.
He wasn't even on the bench, was he?
No. No.
You know you shit when Chucks and EK's in over you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. But so we go. Steve Seddon just gone to St Mirren.
I liked him. I thought he had a great left foot.
But after forcing out his move because of falling out with Bowyer, that he wanted to go to Middlesbrough, and ends up at St Mirren. Yeah, your career went well. The young lad that was out on the left wing, which was the lad who went to Leeds, that sold his future down the drain. I think he's played one professional game since leaving us.
Obviously, Gary Gardner retired, didn't he, or left?
No, Gary Gardner.
No, yeah, Gary. It was Gary
Gardner.
Gardner.
Cambridge, isn't he? I'm sure he's on the bench at Cambridge.
Is he? Oh, there you go.
I swear he's like.
I think he is at Cambridge. Actually, come to think of it, yeah.
Yeah, I swear it's Michael Morrison, and because it was like Gary Monk, Gary Gardner, and Morrison. Yeah. And then you've got some other players that are in there. I mean, we talked about it before we come on air as well. We've watched players that are now real estaters over in America because they had half a hamstring. We've watched players that stacked up the National League and looked really great doing it, but just, that was the levels we were at. It's just, we've watched some absolute dog shit.
And I mean, if you know, anyone here who is old enough or young enough that plays Football Manager, load up a Lawlor'S Law save, and it's basically like a school reunion of Birmingham City shithouses.
Yeah,
it is literally I've done a Lawlor'S Career many times on Blues, and watching it, and I'm like, am I doing a Birmingham past and present or something? Like, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, so it's like Connell Truman was in that 5-2 squad, and I believe he went to Millwall after he left us.
4.7 that game.
Yeah, didn't he get outed as being like a huge Villa fan or so? I don't know, but 4.7 rating. You look at that picture as well, and Adam Armstrong got 3 of the goals for Blackburn.
Yeah, I can't see the other 2, and our 2 goals didn't even come from the starting 11.
That's what I'm saying. So the goals we didn't even have on the starting 11. So yeah, I mean, Raheem Harper's now at Port Vale. Mate, it speaks for itself, doesn't it? I mean, like I said earlier, I think there should be one of those, the football tic-tac-toe games. You should have to complete that of players you've had to watch stinking up a pitch in a blue shirt to be able to even be afforded a Wembley ticket, because I could go through 10 of them and still have spares left over.
The final segment I'm going to quickly speak about, because we're edging towards an hour. Where's that gone?
Yep.
This has been class. I've enjoyed this. I don't know what to name it without getting told off too much. I'm going to call it.
Can I make a suggestion? Is it about a certain manager that we both?
Yes, but I was going to call it of the week. Something of the week.
Arsehole of the week, surely.
Yeah, because I can't use Pratt of the week because that's on another podcast, and I don't want to get.
It's got to be arsehole of the week.
Yeah.
I'm just going to segue that over.
And we're going to move this to arsehole of the month at the minute because we played them recently.
I'm just going to segue that over to the fact that he's really small and fucking annoying. I hate the bloke. I can't stand him. Honestly, I hate him.
Honestly, so obviously we're talking about Nathan Jones, who is, in my opinion, the worst. In terms of tactics, he's great. Don't get me wrong. He's a good manager, but he's also one of the worst human beings I've ever seen whinge about football. When we lost 1-0 to him earlier in the season, I've never seen a manager before tell his players to go on the ground so much and feign injuries. Ridiculous. When he was doing shit in the Prem, he tried to have the audacity to tell everyone that he was the best manager in Europe, following the most obvious handball anyone has ever seen from a goalkeeper in the last 5 years down the Blues. And he tried to basically gaslight Birmingham City and say that we're just making a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah.
Are you good?
Yeah, you're the fucking molehill. I can't stand the bloke. I genuinely do not like him. I've got more hate for him than I have for your Steve Bruce and Alex McLeish's. And they went to the fucking Villa. And I just don't like the bloke. And the fact that you only lasted 2 months in the Prem goes to show you quality, doesn't it? You found your level, stick to it, mate. And I hope you finally end up managing a National League North side, so I don't ever have to see your face again.
He's just I laugh because I despise the man that much. He's one of them where you could see that he was just crying about every decision that goes against him. Football is a game where you work hard to gain affirmation and respect off your fellow people. When you just think you are self-entitled and cry your eyes out about stuff is what pisses every fan in the world off. And he's that in a nutshell.
Well, let's speak about Chris Davies doing it. He goes out there and he moans about people time wasting against us, but not once does he ever name names of teams or certain managers or anything. Nathan Jones will name drop. He's up there with another absolute arsehole that I hope will be brought up in future episodes, and I hope I can be on for that one, because there's one other person in our league that gets on my goat as much as that bloke, and he's the quite.
Is it a certain Winnie the Pooh FC manager?
He's a very large man.
Oh, him. Him. I will get onto him next week if you want. I'm in for that one.
Fucking bowling ball. Nathan Jones. If I'd love to have a boxing match with him, but I'd step on the little cretin. I don't like him, honestly. I just don't like the bloke at all. He really does wind me up.
Oh, that is a wonderful way to end this podcast, is pure anger towards Nathan Jones. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the first episode of Lawlor's Law. We're looking to do these as regular as possible. Like the video, subscribe, do all that stuff, get us out there. Let people know about this podcast. Be sure to follow on whichever platform and audio you are. But yeah, George, thank you, mate. I've enjoyed it.
So
it's
much,
been
mate.
amazing.
Yeah,
keep right on, my man.
Thank you. Keep right on, mate.